Hello guys, I'm back. So today's video I wanted to make it about labor or going into labor and then the aftercare about labor. So pretty much, I don't know, I was terrified of going into labor. I was so scared because of all the stories that you hear and all the things that you hear that happen. I had a natural birth and I did not get an epidural, and it's not as bad as people make it out to be. For me, at least, I didn't have too many complications or anything going on like that. And the way that it started, it was Thanksgiving, and I felt really weird that day. And I started getting contractions around 7 p.m. Like 6, 7 p.m. that were pretty much 3 minutes apart. But they weren't like crazy where I couldn't take the pain. So I was just writing it down on my iPhone on my notes, right? But then when we were eating, I was like struggling to eat because I just felt like this pressure. And, I told my husband, like, "Oh, I just feel a lot of pressure, like I'm uncomfortable." And he's on my phone and he's like, "Your contractions are 3 minutes apart." Because he remembers that they told us, like, if your contractions get to be 2 to 3 minutes apart, you need to come in. And it was November 24th and my due date's November 25th. So I was one day, it was November 23rd actually. And my due date was the 25th. So I was like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm fine. It's okay, And I did a Snapchat video that day of doing my makeup, and I was even saying, like, I think I'm getting contractions. I really don't want to do my makeup. The only reason I'm doing it is because I was looking at everybody's Snapchat and everybody was all cute for Thanksgiving, and I was like, I guess I'll get ready. So we went to go walk our dog, Sweet Pea, and like I just couldn't, because obviously walking says it helps you open up. So we were walking her and we only walked like a block or something, and then we went back home because I just couldn't walk. Like, I just had too much pressure. So then we went to go lay down. We were gonna go to sleep, and we were laying in bed, and I was just like, I can't. Like, I just feel this sharp pain. Like, it kind of feels like you have to poop. It's weird. So then we went to the hospital, which my hospital was Pomona Hospital, and we get there, and they take me in. They check to see how much I have dilated, like opened up, and I was barely at like a 2, I want to say, or a 3, and my contractions weren't strong. They were close, but they weren't strong. So she was like, I was there for maybe like about 2 hours, and we got there like at, I want to say like at 10 p.m. So we left like at 2 or something like that. Because she gave me the option. She's like, you can either stay and walk around here for 2 hours and then come back and then we'll check if you opened up. Or you can go home and you can relax and be at the comfort of your home, take a bath, just wait it out. And I was like, I'm not going to walk around the hospital for 2 hours. So I told my husband, let's just go back home. And at the time I lived in Rialto. So we drove from Pomona all the way to Rialto. So the whole drive home, I'm uncomfortable. We get home and we're trying to go to sleep. And my husband's, of course, knocked out snoring. And I was just laying down, and I was just like taking deep breaths because I just felt like I couldn't breathe. I was just like, and then I told him, like, you know what, like, something's wrong. Like, I'm sorry, like, I can't. It got worse. The pain got worse. So we go back, and she was like, they took me back in, and by then it was already, I want to say, like 2 in the morning. Yeah, like 2 or 3 in the morning when we went back. It was like 3 in the morning. So we go back, the same thing, they check me. She's like, okay, yeah, your contractions are a little bit stronger, but you still are not like that open, you're still like at a 3. So she was like, go walk around and for an hour and come back. So I'm like, okay, this time I stayed. So we were walking around for an hour, and then I couldn't even walk around the hospital, and I saw other pregnant girls walking around with their boyfriends or husbands or moms, whatever, and they're like just walking and chilling, and I had to be holding my husband's hand, and he even bought me a Sprite, and I was drinking it, and I was like shaking, and I was like holding his hand, and I was like holding onto a bar, and then she told me, if you feel like you can't walk, it's okay for you to stop and take breaks. So I would stop and I'd be like, like shaking, like I can feel my body shaking, right? So I was like, what the hell? So then finally we go back after an hour. At this point it's already like, I want to say like 4:30 a.m. And then I go back, she checks me and she's like, okay, you're already at 4.5, we're gonna admit you, we're gonna like, you know, get you a room and everything. So by the time they give me a room and they actually like check me in and everything, it's like 5 a.m. By 5 a.m. I'm already at about like 5.5, 6 centimeters open, and my water didn't break, like at all. And you know, the nurse came and I asked her about the epidural, and then she's like, you can get it, but honestly, she's like, I can tell when you know, the moms are going to be able to take the pain and you're going to be able to take the pain. If you get the epidural, it's going to extend your labor, so you're going to be here for like 10 hours. Your baby gets drowsy, so it's just going to be a longer process. I did ask her if it wears off, because I know some moms told me that it does wear off if you get it too early, and she said that it doesn't. She said that they leave it on you until the baby's born, basically. So and she's like, if you don't get it, your baby's gonna be born like in 5 hours. And I was like, fuck. And for some reason at that time, I don't know if it's because I was uncomfortable and I was in pain, all I heard was, you're gonna extend your labor 10 hours. But I was thinking in my head, like, I'm still gonna have this pain for 10 hours, never mind. So I was like, all right, fuck it, I don't want it, you know, like I don't want the epidural, like I'm gonna do it natural. Like I wanted to try to do it natural anyways. So every hour I was opening up 1 centimeter. So it was 6, I was 6, it was 7, I was 7, it was 8, like I was 8. At 8, she came and she broke my water. That should hurt. She put her hand in there and she was like, and then I just felt like a freaking waterfall, like water just coming out, like just all crazy, you know? And after that, the contractions got a little bit stronger, or a lot stronger, like I felt more pressure. And then like literally the whole entire time I was just like breathing, like that's all I could do. And she was like, don't focus on the pain, focus on your breathing. And like I told my husband, it helps me when you breathe with me, because he was like, breathe babe, breathe. And then it was funny when I told him that, then he started like, and I didn't take breathing classes or anything, I went off of movies, I guess, I don't know. So that's all I was doing. And then I kind of felt like I had to pee, and I told her like I like have to pee, and she brought me like this tray and she lifted me up, and I was like, girl. And then I was trying but I couldn't, and I was like, no, I can't. And then she took it away, and then she was like, she came back and she checked, and my contractions were like stronger and they were closer together. And there was one point where I was already about 9.5. She's like, oh, you're almost there, you're almost at 10, you know. And so I got checked in at 5 a.m. I was like about 5 centimeters. And by 10 a.m. my son was born, which I think it's pretty fast. It was a fast like labor. So she, at like 9, I was like, can I do the epidural? You know, she's like, no, because it was just so much, like it's just an annoying pressure feeling. Like it just burns, like a burning sensation. I don't know. And then she was like, no, but you're almost there. Like, don't worry, you're fine. And I literally had a tear like coming down, and I looked at my husband that was to the left of me, and I was like, I don't think I can do it, like I can't. And he was like, yes you can, just breathe. And I was like, right. So I was breathing. So I'm just staring at this clock that's in front of me, and I'm just watching like tick 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 the time go by, you know. And finally she's like, okay, you're at 10, the doctor's almost here. She was 30 minutes away. And I'm like, what the fuck, you mean she was 30 minutes away, you know? She's like, don't push. And I'm like, bitch, like I need to push. So she was like, don't push, the doctor's in her way. And then I see the doctor come in, and I'm like, fuck this, I start pushing, right? But the doctor told me, she's like, okay, once you tell me, when you feel contraction, let me know so that you can start pushing. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like this, I'm holding my husband's hand, and the nurse is like holding this leg, and my husband's holding like this leg, and like the OB's like right there. And then when I would feel a contraction, I'd be like, okay, it's coming. And then she'd be like, push. And I was like, but it was like funny because I was forgetting to like breathe. So I was kind of lightheaded, and they're like, let it out. And they're like, okay, good job. I literally pushed 5 times. Again, the contractions are 2 minutes apart. So my son was out in 10 minutes. They were like, his head is right there. Oh my gosh, he has so much hair. And then like I pushed, and then they were like, there, you're done. He's out, he's out. And when she broke my water bag, she told me that my baby pooped inside. So I was kind of scared. So unfortunately, I didn't get to get him on me instantly, like that mommy, like skin to skin time, because they had to check if he swallowed or inhaled or anything of like his poop. And it sucks because my husband didn't get to cut his umbilical cord because they just kind of took him. It was still right there in the room, but they just kind of took him and they were doing all of that and checking him. So yeah, they took him and they were checking him, and then they brought him to me, you know. So like I couldn't even cry because I was just like so like I wanted to see like what was going on and what they were doing. And he did tear me, so they were like stitching me up, and I was just like, I can't see, you know. But I would recommend, like, if you feel like you could do it without the epidural, do it. Don't get it. You don't need it. It is uncomfortable and it is like an annoying pain because it's every 2 minutes, every 2 minutes, every 2 minutes. But it's not something that it's intolerable, you know. Everyone told me, get the epidural before it's too late, and I didn't get it. And honestly, like, I loved the fact that I felt me actually giving birth to my baby. I think that's awesome. But yeah, that was my experience with labor. It was really fast. I loved it. Every second of it, walking around the hospital, pushing, my husband being right there, the breathing, the him coming out, like, it wasn't like what I expected. Again, my water didn't break. She had to break it for me. But my advice to you is, again, listen to your heart, follow what you want to do. Everybody told me to do an epidural, and I didn't want to do it. So, and I didn't do it, and my labor was so much faster. Like, he was out like in 10 minutes. So it was amazing. My friend did tell me to start drinking a raspberry leaf tea and primrose oil pills, which I did start at 38 weeks, which are supposed to help soften your cervix so that your labor is faster and easier. And I did start taking that, so I don't know if that's what helped me, but I would recommend that you look into it. It's raspberry leaf tea and primrose oil pills. Check them out. If you're comfortable, take them. Some girls shove those pills up there too. I didn't do that. But I mean, it's up to you. You can start at like 36 or 37 weeks. I started at 38 because I was like, I don't want him to come too early. So my son was born November 24th and my due date was November 25th. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for today. If you have any questions, again, feel free to comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.